Travis Wing did sell. It appears the Amazon deliverer is having lunch with one of the neighbors across the street in the trailer park area. Or they shut off their GPS, and that's the last known location of it, as they've taken off to some other fast food place. So, or they could be having it in the van, I guess. They just parked outside the house. Anyway, this one will be the language. Also, notification, update for the lawsuit. My landlord again sent the guy who was supposed to be temporary because the other guy was coming back. Well, the other guy's not coming back, and the temporary guy is now permanent. And so yeah, I filed the brief, which got put on today because of the PDF hassle, and then sent another one today. I'll just keep sending briefs because I can do as many as I want according to the law, or until the clerk finds a reason not to allow my briefs anymore. Yeah, it's clear that updates need to be sent on a regular basis because Judge Jenkins is not refusing himself, and the church are refusing to shut down as more Mormons die, and Governor Herbert's refusing to shut down and refusing to provide for the welfare of Utahns, like Nelson's failing to provide for the welfare of Mormons, just letting people die, get infected. That's their whole plan, and they need to be stopped, and I'm the only one that's apparently working on it, which is disturbing. We have other Mormons who are saying, I have free agency to be infected and infect others, and if they die, they die. What? And so then I was hacked, and I can tell when they're hacking because they let themselves be known that they're hacking. They're playing around on my computer, and I go, oh no you don't. And so I have to shut it down and take necessary steps to let them know that they ain't getting in. But at that same time, I come back in later and find, as I finish the other video and come on in, or upload it, checking that I have a new subscriber. So I check out the new subscriber, and it's a person who is into Dinesh D'Souza, who's a racist, as he himself is a minority. But yeah, he did a video that Bill, my neighbor, gave me the video to watch about how he claims that slavery wasn't as bad as it's portrayed because there was a very filthy rich black woman. Therefore, slavery wasn't so bad as everybody thinks it was. That's how racist he is. He was arrested by the Obama administration for his threats to Obama, and he came out and claimed that he was wrong on that, but then he goes right back to doing what he was doing. And so he ain't no hero. He's not somebody to listen to. But it's concerning that people who are into him, and he had that other black woman who loves to talk trash about other blacks. I can't remember her name, but it's wrong. His people are getting played as puppets to perpetuate these people. And so it disturbs me that at the time I'm getting hacked, I'm getting people who are not interested in my videos, or they shouldn't be. If you're somebody who is anti-American, wanting to destroy America and keep Trump as president, king on the throne, you don't have an interest in my videos. What are you doing here? I had somebody the other day say, you may be right about the church, the LDS church, but you're completely wrong about Trump. What? Trump's confessed. What do you mean I'm wrong? It's him. He confessed. And so, despite Trump's confessions, people are still being brainwashed into giving loyalty to him, allowing him to commit crimes, and they're not getting benefited. They're not getting a piece of the pie or the piece of the action. Trump's giving it to his rich loyalists. You know, the regular common folk, you guys are just getting played as chumps. He's using and abusing you for his own wealth. And I saw that as a kid, my peers who were conservative. You know, I saw how they were trying to use me, and I wouldn't let them. But it's like you guys want him to use and abuse you. That's disturbing. It's like Mormons. The church came out with the Gospel Topics essays, confessing that they've been lying to us the whole time. And yet Mormons are like, oh, please, lie to me some more. Lie to me, go on and lie with me. Tell me I'm the only one. Depeche Mode. Awesome song. And so there's a lot of confusion with the language. Thus, the language one we're doing this time. And it's disturbing in the sense that, yeah, he's not moving from that location. That people don't catch on when they catch on that there's confusing messages out there in the world. They know there's confusion. I heard it from the anti-maskers. They say, well, there's confusion about what we're supposed to be doing and how serious this virus is, so I'm going to side on the error of risk, not wear a mask, and demand that my kids not wear a mask as they get sent back to school, and now we're red. You're supposed to err on the side of caution, not risk. But the whole attack on America involves messing up the definitions of basic words like democracy and science. And they've been playing this game on us for decades. They just escalated it under Trump. And this is part of the coding that the Book of Mormon talks about in Helaman 6:21-2, that area. They have secret signs and secret words that they may distinguish a brother from another brother. And the KKK slogan of America First. There's a bank here in Utah, America First Credit Union. I saw a sign on the bus for a Utah First Credit Union. That's racism. They're giving the code out to those who are white supremacists. To say, hey, you can trust us with your money. Go through us. And so, alright, we're done with this. 13 minutes on that. And so in Zion, when we finally get everything situated, we're going to have a whole bunch of different cultures speaking all sorts of different languages, all trying to live together in a melting pot rather than in the segregated United States that we have that I've been talking about. we were intended to be a melting pot rather than a segregated states of America. As we call it united, again, definition's been changed. And so there's going to be a need for a new language. Now, Brigham Young didn't have a need for a new language, but decided to create the Deseret alphabet anyway. It wasn't very intelligent. It's just a replacement of our own alphabet with different characters representing different phonemes. And so, yeah, there isn't much cleverness in it. But I have no idea. It's been a while since I've looked at it. But yeah, it's like Klingon. You've got a space language of an alien culture using an alphabetical system? What? What? Seriously? But the language system that I've designed, and I'm hearing a vehicle, shouldn't be. Yeah, he's still there. Unless he turned it off and I'll hear a knock on the door. Well, he should have put his thing back on. If that turns out to be him. In Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 8 and 9. In verse 8, all Jews know that this is the only verse in their whole Hebrew scripture that contains each and every single alphabetical script letter in Hebrew, biblical Hebrew, in this one verse. And then following is verse 9. For then will I turn to the people a pure language. And so many people assume that, oh, we're going to have Hebrew restored. No. So go back to verse 8. What is verse 8 telling us, which contains every single letter of the Hebrew alphabet? Therefore, wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I raise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations. So this is the last days stuff with the gathering. That I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation. Well, yeah, coronavirus is doing the job, isn't it? Even all my fierce anger for all the earth shall be devoured with fire, with the fire of my jealousy. And so that's an emotional term, though fires have been raging around the world also, as our temperature just keeps rising at horrifying rates. Death Valley this year recorded the hottest temperature ever on Earth. And Australia burned, the Amazon's burned, Europe is burned, Paris is burning. Awesome song, too. It's Dokken, isn't it? Paris is burning. And a historical song, by the way, referring back to the day Paris burned. But what is Zephaniah referring to? Again, it's talking about the latter days, when King David will restore the kingdom of David. Thus, he's the descendant of David. There's this thing in Ezekiel 37, which combines David with scrolls. The scroll of Judah and the scroll of Ephraim from Joseph. Now, Mormons understand that it's supposed to be a combination of scriptures. And so all Mormons, thanks to Apostle Russell M. Nelson, have assumed that it's the Book of Mormon that's the fulfillment of this. In 1981, when the triple combination was finished, with the footnotes and the Bible dictionary and the topical guide, that's now the fulfillment. They are one as a quad. No! Have you not read your Book of Mormon? Dear God! I know Nelson hasn't, because as a president of the church, he finally decided to read his Book of Mormon. See what it had concerning Jesus, of whom he's supposed to be hearing. Oh, dear God. And so yeah, the brass plates, guys, contains the record of the Jews and the genealogy of Joseph. Oh my God. Containing all the same stories plus more regarding scriptures and prophecies. And so this is the brass plates. So there was no brass plates, as all of us who have stopped attending church know, that the Book of Mormon is not an actual book of ancient scripture of the ancient inhabitants of this land. See, Moses also talks about pure language also. Because the original language was pure and undefiled. The Book of Mormon talks about Hebrew and Egyptian, and the brass plates are in Egyptian. And so that's one possible outcome, is that we have everybody return. Unusual car sound. Returning to. Yeah, the driver has a few more deliveries on their way, but they're in a different location though. Interesting. Alright, so maybe I need to hurry up and finish. So, two options. One is we return to Egyptian, the original language, the language of Adam, which is Thoth, which Thoth was the one who is credited with the Egyptian language. So yes, language of Adam, language of David, language of Thoth. That's one possibility. The other one is that we create a whole new language because of our knowledge of alphabetical languages, and not the phoneme version that you guys know, the Paleo-Hebrew decipherment that I know, and the method it was used as to develop a language. And so either one could be utilized. I think mine would be more effective and efficient because Egyptian, as we currently understand it, is a Greek learning version. Remember the Book of Mormon? The learning of the Jews. So our Jesus isn't the Christian Jesus, he's the Jewish Christ, called Messiah, King David, and the language of the Egyptians. And so the manner in which a language could be utilized is by having basic concepts, words, and then use adjectives to attach to those words. So in Egyptian, they used what's called determinatives. Those were the first type of adjectives to be used, where they'd use a character before or after, depending on which period of time. Well, he's moving around all right. To designate the adjective being described by the word, because the word, if you put a different determinative, could refer to something else. Oftentimes it's the difference between a noun and a verb. You need to distinguish between those, but also in the sense of king versus kingdom, you needed to distinguish between those. And so determinatives were helpful in clarifying what word you're utilizing. And so using actual characters, hieroglyphic characters, rather than a linear script would make it easier to communicate that way. You'd then have to assign a phonetic system that all would understand. The problem you run into, though, is that Egyptian has over 1,000 characters. And so how do you attach a phoneme to all of those characters? Well, the Greeks attached Greek as phonemes for the Egyptian characters. I don't think Egyptologists realized that that's what was being done. But, oh my. So 1, 2, 3, could be at fourth house left. I have to pay attention here because they're not giving me a countdown anymore because he went to lunch. And so you'd have to make it very simplistic, so that using colors for the adjectives, for example, you can't just have a word for blue, or a character for blue, a character for mauve, or a character for bright sienna, those types of things. You'd have to actually keep it simple and stick with the 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and include black and white, even though they're not colors. And then proceed to have a system in which you combine the primary colors with black and white to explain the color that you're trying to talk about instead. And so I'm giving you my decipherment, or it's more of a creation, far better than Klingon. An alphabet, please. And oh, whoops! I don't need to do that. I'm done. Ah, there we go. 4 stops away. Good boy. There was a female the other day. That was cool. They have different drivers every time, because they treat them like crap, so people can't stay on the job. Alright. Pull that. Yeah, this is I don't know if you realize how much you're getting education here with somebody who's doing a video on creating a new language. But you have to understand that people need a language that they can all understand together, and be able to communicate And having a keyboard that's 1,000 characters is a little too complicated. So we need to simplify it in a way. Russia has their own Russian keyboard, as others have their own type of keyboard, as we Americans have our English keyboard, which is probably the worst language ever created because of the manipulation and corruption and pollution that can be done to it and has been done to it. So that would be my recommendation, is to start all over and create that new language system using very simple noun, subject, let's see, wait a minute, subject, verb, object communication, and adjectives and adverbs directly before or after. Hebrew uses the adjective after, when we use it before. So if you're going to do it in a linear script form, that's going to be even more simplistic in a way, but it'll have to be distinctive, because a character representation, there's no disputing what the character represents, whereas a linear one, you can have the halfway on the page, but people might misinterpret it as the upper bar or lower bar line, and so it can cause some problems with the linear. I have to go back to kindergarten when we had the dash in between a sentence frame so that we sized our letters correctly, and rather than the word program without that, because we'd have to figure out a way to type as well as attach phonemes to it to speak it, and everybody would have to learn the new language. Or we could have a system that would translate, like Star Trek has, where you speak your language and then the other person hears their language through the translator. So those are some things to be thinking about as the time keeps on coming. Oh, the other one's finished. Let's process that, publish it anyway. So yeah, getting some moderate views despite the different playlist. They've taken down the possible spam. They're no longer caring about spam on YouTube anymore. And so it's just all held for review, and I'm supposed to report spam. So the Mormon who gave me the death threat, and the Islamic gentleman who gave me the death threat, they're both gone now. I was purposely wanting to keep them. Oh, 2 stops away. So we'll end here. And did I mention that I was hacked? Dear God. But yeah, there are signals and clues that let me know that I'm being hacked.